The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Video Games to the Max. This is episode 175, and we are of course the official games podcast of W2Net.com and partnership with 4Mania.com and Last Word on Life as well. And I'm your host Sean Garmer, here with me as always Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
Well, we're still in the doldrums, kind of waiting for 2018 games to hit us, but it's not all that bad, I'd say.
It's nice to have a break.
Yeah, it is nice to have a break. Lots of controversy going on if you were a big YouTube watcher, apparently, and you can't really escape it because even people in my sphere talking about it. Like, I wake up to Woken Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega talking about the Logan Paul situation and all that. I don't know how much you want to get into it. Obviously, what the dude did was stupid.
Yeah. I mean, he's an ass clown. Like, I've seen a lot of people comparing it to, like, I saw one guy comparing it to Jackass, like 20 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But the thing with Jackass is they were never, they were never insulting to the culture like they were in, really.
Right.
Like, they were always doing stupid shit to themselves. Like, doing pranks or just doing, like, stupid stunts. Like, they were never, like, expressly insulting to people, like, to anyone, like, any social group or, society or anything like that.
Right. He's also young. You do dumb stuff when you're 21, 22, all that. I can't tell you how many stupid things I did. And it's, obviously I didn't have the power these guys do. Him and his brother. So
that's the problem. Yeah. It's suddenly having, like, a lot of money and influence and not having the responsibility to go along with that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with going to Japan and going in there and seeing someone that apparently has committed suicide and you're filming them, and whether the laugh was intentional or it was a nervous laugh because he didn't know what to do or whatever. I might
say stop filming. that might be thing number one. I know, like, that video to me is, like, it's dumb, honestly, but that other video he did about Japan where he's just, like, walking around and being a jackass to everyone, like, I actually find that more insulting in some respects.
I agree with you in that respect, too, because, Japan goes out of their way to teach people to be, courteous and polite and quiet, and, like, you're disrupting what they do.
I have some, like, nerd bro, like, frat guy, essentially, like, going over there and being a dick to everyone.
The stuff with the fish and the octopus was, like, just really stupid. Like,
the one that insulted me was, like, the Game Boy. Like, he bought a Game Boy Color, smashed it, and then tried to return it, and it's like, A, that's not funny. B, like, what's the point? Like, just be a jackass? Like, even they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's people, obviously, they watch it. So, if there's not someone there telling the guy that, hey, look, you're getting the hits or whatever, and all his apologies, even the one that I just read that apparently he wrote up not too long ago, and we're recording this basically on, like, early Sunday morning, you already had other people commenting. Kenny Omega commented again. about how disingenuous he comes off every time he makes an apology, and not to mention these apologies, other than the one that he wrote, that is the one I'm referring to, that he did them in video, and then you're having millions of people watch these too. So it also comes off as...
Well, and he's getting money from them.
Right. Yeah, that too. And then it's also helping YouTube because they're wanting to put it in their trending section and, getting him more publicity and everything else. And, this isn't the first time that YouTube folks have gotten in trouble. PewDiePie went through that, and he's kind of recovered from it. So there's a guy that was involved with Smosh Games that's been accused by multiple people of sexual assault that just left them. I mean, that's ridiculous. That should not be happening. In fact, he got people involved in orgies and may have raped some women and stuff like that. It's crazy what we're talking about at the beginning of 2018 here. This is what happens sometimes when you have these lulls and other forms of media to talk about. But I didn't want to spend all day talking about, number one, because I don't think he's getting enough publicity from everybody else talking about it. Number two, there's a article on something involving one of the Pauls or some YouTube person doing something dumb, or causing arguments on Reddit and trying to get them pulled from subreddits because that's all they do, every day, it seems like. So I just thought of bringing it up just because it's a topic of conversation at this point.
We need to have a good war so people can get drafted.
Oh God, the way the president's going,
yeah,
I dread that maybe not this year, but 2019. Who knows what's going on at that point? But hey, look, there is some things to talk about. Mainly some games that we've been playing.
Yep.
What have you been doing?
I've been messing around to see Call of Duty World War II a little more. About a game on Steam called Superflight, which is kind of a nice little procedurally generated game where you just kind of fly around and try to avoid hitting stuff. But it's simple. I mean, you basically fly close to buildings or objects to get points and try not to crash. But it was $1 when I bought it, so
not bad. So sort of a flight simulator-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it's not you're flying a little guy around with wings, or he has wings attached to his arms. It's not like a plane or anything.
So Icarus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And you can go to portals to different land or different levels and stuff. It's relaxing, but it has a good competitive thing built in because it has a leaderboard. So.
Hey, that's cool, and it's not too expensive, so.
Yeah, the big thing I got back into over the past week was World of Warcraft.
How is that?
So it's weird because I stopped playing last year, I think, a few months after the Legion expansion came out initially. I want to say maybe around Christmas I stopped playing, in 2016. So I logged in on the 1st of January essentially, and you have the big thing in Legion was you get a new weapon, and it's going to be your only weapon for the expansion called your artifact weapon.
Mm.
And the idea is you can power it up. The whole point is you get items to power it up, and the weapon gains levels and new abilities. So that was fine. And at that time it was if you get, if you get an object for 20,000 artifact power, that was pretty good. That was decently high. Or 30,000 was good also. It was just degrees of I never went above 40. Let's just say that. And I logged into the game, and it's here's this. The game gave me an item that was worth 21 billion artifact power. I was like, what?
Wow. Like, wow.
I had one of the old objects in my bag that was like, well, here's like 17,000, and this thing I got from the game was like, here's 21 billion. It's like okay, and they expanded the tree out, like the leveling tree for the weapon up a little more, and yeah, I'm just getting items now. They blew it out so much that like I'm getting items that's like, here's 5 billion like artifact power. It's like, who cares? Like, how much further can I take this thing? Like,
I mean, at some point these numbers just get ridiculous.
Well, that's an interesting thing. Is like at the moment I have, I think like 3.5 million HP, and I'm doing like 1.5 million, like 1.2 million damage per like spell. I'm a mage. Like I can decimate a lot of stuff quickly. Not players, because that doesn't work out for me at all. But like just enemy NPCs, it's like no problem. And they had this issue before with like the last expansion, where they had something called the stat squish, where in previous expansions numbers were getting a little out of control. So like Blizzard rolled like numbers down. So instead of you having like 30,000 or 300,000 hit points, you'd have like 40,000. I mean, you still have the same amount of hit points, like in the game, but they just roll the numbers down essentially. And they got to do that again with the next expansion because it's getting out of control already.
Yeah, or you're gonna starting to get in the trillions of.
I mean, there are already bosses that have like 1 billion HP, and it's like,
wow.
This is like, it literally says like it'll say like 3434 M for million, so it's 3.4 billion, HP, and it's like, holy Christ.
But I'm assuming your attacks are doing like 1 million or something, right?
Yeah, like a million, give or take, like every hit. And like different classes can do different stuff, obviously, but yeah,
so it's not literally like you're not just sitting there for like a whole day going, okay, well, I gotta get to 30.4 billion and.
No. But also the fun thing about this is like, the nice thing about expansions in World of Warcraft is like when the new one comes out and you're fully leveled for it, you can go back to the old one and dust everything in that expansion.
Yeah.
Like by yourself, and it's a lot of fun.
And then you also got to deal with waiting on all the lines for getting into the servers and everything else.
Oh, those are pretty gone. Like they've consolidated that pretty well. Like I'm actually kind of excited for the new expansion when it comes out, like later this year.
So you won't have the problems of people waiting forever to get in and all that?
I mean, it'll spring up like the first month, I assume, because that's what always happens. People kind of come in, see the new content, like on a general level, and then just leave. But like, I think they've done a lot of good server upgrades over the years, so that doesn't really happen that much anyway. And I cannot wait until they get rid of PvP servers.
Oh, that's coming with the expansion too, right?
Yeah, well, I think this is going to be part of the baseline upgrade path for the game. Like, they're not going to have what they call normal, like, player versus enemy servers and PvP servers, player versus player. Because I'm at a PvP server, and it sucks. It's the worst part about that game for me.
Oh, because you got people constantly killing you.
Like, I'm a mage. I don't do well against undead rogues.
Yeah. I can imagine. And then, if you get anybody that, like, just gets right in your face, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. Like, I was playing, like, I think, like, 5 nights ago, and, like, I'm an Alliance player, and 5 Horde took over, like, this one small little village, but it's where everyone lands in that area. So when someone landed, they instantly killed them. And it's like, this is not fun at all.
Yeah. It can get annoying really quick, I'm sure.
I can't wait until like that PvP server thing rolls out and they have to go do something else with their lives, hopefully.
So what? Everything's gonna be PvE then, or?
You'll be able to select, like, I think you have to go into like a big town, and you can toggle PvP on or off.
Oh,
And if
okay.
it's on, you can do battle against other PvP players. But if it's off, then you can't. So, can't wait. Because my PvE flag will be up, and I will never turn it off.
Yeah, I immediately, like, the little time that I played, I was like, yeah, I'm getting in a PvE server because I'm not even dealing with the douchebags. Or
Well,
I'm not being. Go ahead.
I initially started on a PvP server, like when I played, 13, 14 years ago. But I was with my friends, they all in like college at the time, so that's what they were on. So I was like, all right, fine. I didn't even know the difference.
Right.
And then like 7 years later, I mean, all my friends stopped playing after like the first year anyway. But like 7 years later, my account got hacked and like it got switched to a different PvP server. And I'm like, if you're gonna transfer my character, transfer it to a PvE one, please.
Yeah.
And then I eventually got the account back, but it stayed on that server because it's like, all right, well, I don't want to pay money to switch it again. Like, screw that.
Yeah, because it's like, what, $25, something like that?
I want to say it's like maybe 15, but I don't want to pay that for,
Yeah, it's like almost the equivalent of paying what is it, like Microsoft charges you like $5 or something to, I think it might be like 10 to change your gamer tag.
Yeah, I think it is 10.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, do you really want to waste $10 on that? No. Well, hopefully.
But yeah, WoW is pretty fun. Like, it holds up pretty well.
Well, that's
Obviously.
good. At least you're already excited for the new expansion, so they're doing their work.
Yeah. And yeah, they keep updating like the current expansion with content. Like when I launched in the game, I had my quest log was like overfilling. Like I had to like drop some quests because I had no space in that log.
So has the vanilla WoW thing ever happen, or
That's supposed to come with the expansion. Like I assume that it'll roll out two different. Like if you want to play classic WoW, here you go. Like here's the last version of WoW before the first expansion. Like if you want to go at it, I mean, people I think will for like the first like a few months, but then they realize like current WoW adds a lot more aside from this content, like there's a lot more ease of use systems, like
right.
the look for group like part, or look for raid, or summoning people.
Yeah, which then you'll get the people that complain about all that stuff too. I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, they're trying to make it easier for you.
Yeah,
But
within the first 2 days, I'd flying on the new expansion because they locked it away and behind like some stupid achievement crap. So it's like that's my first goal is to get flying on this fucking continent, so no one can jump me again.
Yeah.
Or they
So
can
it's a lot
try,
funner
but
to fly around now.
yeah, they can try, but I can usually get away pretty quick if I need to.
Well, anything else for you there?
No, I've been toying with Marvel Ultimate Alliance a little more. The game continues to be a piece of shit on PS4. It runs so much better just playing by myself than with my friend. It is like insulting in a way.
That's bad.
Yeah.
They not think you would play this online or something? That's just weird.
I don't know if it's an emulation problem or like what they did, but they messed up somewhere along the way. And a little more. I mean, you bought it too, but I've been playing a little more Nier on PC.
So, are you like going for like another one of those endings, or?
No, just kind of screwing around. Like my roommate's girlfriend is borrowing my PS4 copy, which is already kind of 100% done. So it's nice to play on PC. Like it runs a little better, and I'm not anywhere near finished. So it's good. It's fun to go through that game again.
Still interested in the story a second time through too?
Oh yeah, that story really holds up.
Yeah, I got it. It'll show up in the mail at some point. GameStop's like 4 to 7 days, whatever that is, and then I don't think they do anything on Sundays, so hopefully I get the notification that they shipped it on Monday, and it's not like your book thing, and it takes like 5 days just for them to say, "Oh, we shipped it." Uh, I would assume since it's a much more common item, it shouldn't, but we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes. It was on a $30 sale again, so it was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to wake up on Sunday and for some reason that sale's gone, so just
Well,
gonna
that's what I
do it
told
this
you
way.
when you sold games off and you got like $30 in store credit. I was like, just hold off. Like, it'll be fine. It'll go back on sale. And you're like, I'm gonna buy Night in the Woods instead. It's like the next week it went back on sale.
It's all right. Hey, Night in the Woods was worth it though. It's still going through that. It's a really good game. I enjoy it. I listen to the soundtrack sometimes when I'm editing stuff. Uh, I got to beat Super Mario Odyssey finally. And I actually watched me beat the last part of the last world and then beat Bowser. She thought it was pretty funny how the game ends. Has a really cool ending, especially if you're like us that have like lived through all the Mario through the years. So I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it it was like cool getting like because I remember being just in this like flower world or whatever forever, and then it doesn't take that long to actually beat the game. I think I did it in like I want to say like 8 hours or something like that after I got past the flower world. But just getting to go to all those worlds and have fun in there and find the moons, just doing random stuff like, and it really encourages you to explore. And that's what I like about it is you'll do something and there's a moon there you didn't even know that was there, or you'll go around this corner, go underneath like when you go to New Donk City and you're going around the different buildings trying to find like because there's a quest that you have to do to find these musicians so that she can do the mayor can do the big uh, like song that's the main song of the game or whatever that you hear all the time.
Yeah.
And so you have to like go on top of these different buildings, and so there's a lot of space you're going through. And like I ran into a thing where I got on this moped and I had to outrun a freaking dinosaur. And then in the next thing I'm on these buildings and there's this crane and you go underneath the crane and I found like a moon just running around there. And it it was I mean that's sort of the highlight of it because it's the biggest world that you go into. But like I really this probably the most fun I had with the game the whole year. And just getting to I played it in the different ways they want you to play it, the way with the thumbsticks. And but it's so much easier with the Pro controller because you don't have to do the flailing around with the Joy Cons. You can just push the controller up or down or shake it around, and it does everything that they ask you to do. And actually, it does make it go faster, so it works to
Now I
have
can
the.
now I can go hunt on the rest of the moons, all 900 of them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I finished, and you can also like go and beat some of the bosses again too to get more moons. So that's always uh, that's always fun too because they're a little harder as well. They add extra things that you have to kind of go through to hit them and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it definitely deserves all the hoopla it got. And what we're going to talk about here, because Game Developers Choice has their award nominees out. Of course, their awards don't actually happen until like mid-March, so in like a couple of months we'll actually hear who won. But they don't have a lot of categories, so shouldn't take us too long to go through this. But so best visual art, I feel like it's a pretty stacked category. But I feel like who probably is going to win this. But Persona 5, Cuphead, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda, and Night in the Woods. All five of those pretty well fit in that category. I feel like this is as stylish as Persona is. I think like Cuphead's going to win
Yeah,
this.
Cuphead will win, but Persona should win.
I love the Persona's art style, but like what they did with Cuphead is ridiculous. Like
Yeah, it's like
all,
they did that Steamboat Willie world from Kingdom Hearts 2.
but the entire time, and it's colored, so
they're just being racist at that point.
It's awful. Innovation Award. I've actually heard this today. Somebody was playing it. One of the podcasts I listened to, Gorgoa from Annapurna, and Buried Signal, Zelda, What Remains of Edith Finch, Everything, which I know you enjoyed, and PUBG.
I'd say PUBG wins that one, just because everyone is like copying them at this point. So
Yeah, I would say as far as innovation goes, not that it's like new or anything, but yeah, we'll talk about another game that already added another battle royale. I've seen several sites have the 10 games that could add a battle royale mode this year, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of them did.
Waiting for Final Fantasy 15 to do it, so everyone can just be like warping around and with Noctis.
Yeah, they could do that with the multiplayer thing. I could also see them do something sort of like that with the Cydia game too. So
or do it with Dragon Ball.
Yeah, why not? You could just
it'll be 1 versus 99. The one is Goku and the 99 are Cybermen.
Yeah. And then if you get through them, you just go like a boss rush or something. Why not? I'm sure that'll be in there as well. Best design: Super Mario Odyssey, Horizon, PUBG, Zelda, and Nier. Nier should win this.
I mean, I'd like it if Nier won, but I think probably Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey has some very unique. I mean, like they're all based on what you normally see either in Mario Kart or most Mario games, but there is some interesting designs in there with the bosses and enemies and whatever, the ones that aren't the common ones you see all the time. I feel like Zelda could also win too.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both listened to like Giant Bomb's Game of the Year stuff over the past week or 2 weeks, and it's interesting to see how many people on that site were up on Zelda and then negative on Zelda.
Yeah, it's so weird to hear them like say, like talk about how much they loved it, and then when it comes to like trying to rank it for something, it was like, let's talk negative now. It's
well, I mean, you have to. Like, the most I was surprised about was actually Jeff liking Nier so much. Like, I was like, ooh,
that did not
way to
seem
go.
like going to be his type of thing.
Yeah, like he's more. I mean, typically he's more of a shooter guy or somewhat more action oriented. Like, not. I mean, Nier does have action, but it's a little more, like insightful or
right.
Not just dumb action.
Yeah, and then some people were fighting about whether the combat gets redundant and all that stuff too. So it's interesting takes from people. This is a category for me. It's weird because when you don't make a distinction with audio, it means you have to include different games for different reasons. Like Cuphead has a great soundtrack. You also get all the sort of movie style effects with it and everything. So plus you get the characters with the cute way that they make them talk. They don't talk, but it's the way they have this text sound and all that. Nier also has an amazing. I've actually sat there and listened to Nier's different soundtracks that they have. They have like a vocal one and then one that's not.
Well, and then they have the hacking one also.
Yeah, that too. Hellblade is purely on here because of the sound design and the stuff with the voices and all that stuff, and well deserved, I would say. But obviously not something as far as anything you're gonna go around listening to.
It's not gonna win that. Let's just say that.
I think it would win if they're going based on like how amazing the sound effects are, or
if it was
whatever.
audio. audio design maybe, but not
Right.
like taking into account music. Like forget it then.
Well, that's where I feel like if you're taking account like why is Persona on here, but you know, it's
Yeah,
only
like Zelda not being on here is kind of weird. Also, even like
eh,
Horizon, it's like I mean, it was fine, but like nothing stood out to me.
that's why I also think like both of those games have the whole we're doing that the atmosphere and all that stuff too. It's not just uh, and the soundtrack's very it kind of just there. It's not. It's there more to add like beauty and whatever. It's not. I would say particularly like something I want to go around listening to all the time, but I know people that do. So
Yeah,
uh, yeah, I feel like Persona kind of got gypped on here as one of the big ones, and there's probably some other ones like you can make a case for like Sonic and Night in the Woods and a few others in here too.
sure.
Best debut. I've heard a lot about Hollow Knight, and I want to play it. It might be one of those things later down the line. Golf Story deserves to be in here. It's got talked about a lot. Cuphead, of course, Night in the Woods, and Gregoa. I like Night in the Woods the most out of all the ones in here, but I feel like Cuphead's going to win just based off of how much everybody
Yeah, I guess.
loves it and
Like
everything.
I just haven't played Cuphead, and everything I've seen about the game just makes it either look like Boss Rush the game or Contra clone.
Well, it is Boss Rush the game with the because those platforming levels there's only like 6 of them.
Yeah, and
So
they're very basic or not like just kind of throwaway.
they're nice in giving you the like, oh my god, I get a break. Um, and it's a nice way to get you to learn how to move around so
Yeah,
that when you're dealing with those bosses, you're not like, oh my god, I moved the wrong way or I didn't press the right button or whatever. But yeah, it's really just a glorified boss rush game, which the bosses are kind of cool, I'd say. Um, very well all like designed and stuff. Just took me a while to figure out on a lot of them what you're supposed to do. So best narrative. I agree with all these. I never played Edith Finch, but the rest of them certainly work out for that. Night in the Woods, Hellblade, Edith Finch, Horizon, and Wolfenstein 2.
I would dump Horizon in a hot second for either Nier or Persona 5.
Yeah, I feel like why did out of all the things you didn't put Nier into best narrative, just weird.
I
Certainly.
haven't played Hellblade or Night in the Woods, but either one of those games I'd also flush in one, immediately for one of those two games.
Night in the Woods and Hellblade are also on here because they talk about really serious stuff, serious themes, and Night in the Woods does it in a much more like way that I think would resonate with. I think I talked about this last time. Just that you're a more common person, whereas Hellblade is much more psychological. So it is, however, you want to take that. I agree with you totally on Horizon though.
Like Horizon
That should
story was decent enough. I mean, but it left a lot of holes in the story if you really think about it.
right.
And like it was just like it didn't really like the main character didn't really grow that much. I don't think overall. Like ultimately.
Yeah, I don't know if they felt like compelled to feel like they needed to put that in there or something, but yeah, weird that you're gonna nominate Nier for other stuff and not put them in here. And
I mean, arguably Nier's biggest thing is its story.
right, and then if you're gonna put Nine the Woods and Hellblade in here for the reasons I talked about, Persona also goes down some of those roads as well.
Yeah.
So could have made that case. The game of the year, obviously, these are some of the big 5 or 6 or 7 that people have been nominating a lot. PUBG, Nier, Legend of Zelda, Horizon, and Mario Odyssey. I think we've either tried to make the case or we've heard many others make the case for all 5 of these. So interesting what they're going to decide. I would assume that Zelda probably wins, but I could see them also trying to go different and maybe go PUBG as well.
Yeah, like I don't think Zelda did a good job like reinventing that formula, but Battlegrounds is a new formula already, or new enough. Like they never had they've done survival games in the past, like especially that guy, but not in that arena type shooter, or here's a big open space, try to kill everyone.
Yeah, certainly it kind of just depends on what they're going to do. If are you just going with Zelda because that was your most outstanding game and you're not taking into effect that it's won like hundreds of awards at this point, or are you going to try to honor maybe PUBG for being really, really important in this year and how much it's caused other
Like
people to have to change what they do in their game?
the one thing that would be cool for PUBG, I think, is aside from like new maps and stuff, which that's coming down the road, obviously.
Right.
But it would be cool if they basically did a actual battle royale mode where you start off in the plane, you jump off, and you have a random weapon, and you can either use that weapon or you can try to kill someone else with it, and get their weapon instead. Like that'd be kind of neat to me.
Yeah, that would be cool for them to do it. Just
And
pay homage to that movie for.
yeah, and like that movie has like some of those weapons are like obviously joke weapons, like chopsticks or like a fan or something.
Right.
And it would be cool if the game had that as well.
It
like,
would really work for a game. So.
I got the chopsticks. Okay, I guess I'm gonna stand in this corner and hope someone comes. Hope I can nail him real quick.
Yeah, do sneak attack with some chopsticks. Would be amazing to see from someone on that. But yeah, that's all their awards there. So thankfully they don't have this huge list, but yeah, so that'll be interesting at mid-March when that comes out. Nintendo has made a lot of news for breaking a bunch of records, sales records this week. They became the fastest selling console in the United States ever because they shifted 4.8 million units in 10 months, which broke the record for the Wii set previously. 60% of Switch owners own Mario and 55% own Zelda. No surprise at all.
To be
People,
fair to
go ahead.
Nintendo, the Switch you can actually find in stores. You couldn't find the Wii when it launched.
It took them a while, but yeah, now you can find Switch much easier. And people it's taken off. People are really enjoying it. I think this is going to be the big year to see what they do. Rumors are that in about 4 or 5 days there's going to be a direct that kind of lets you know what's going on this year, but we'll see. People are going nuts on Reddit and everywhere waiting for what's to come, I guess, for Nintendo. They also are currently outpacing Wii U lifetime sales in Japan, kind of barely. They are outpacing them by 3 million, 3.4, and Wii U had 3.3 at this point. So that's kind of cool. And they also, we talked about them breaking the Japan record last week, the fastest selling record there, beating the PS2. They're also aiming to sell 20 million Switches in 2018, which doesn't seem highly unlikely considering that they're feeling like by the time you hit the year, they're going to break the Wii U's all-time sales. And that's 14 million.
The Wii U was arguably kind of a failure as a console, so it's not that surprising.
No, it doesn't, but I don't think it's going to take a whole lot for them to do 20 million. If they come out with some, a couple, 2 or 3 more big games that people are really anticipating,
Yeah.
they'll knock that out. It won't take long. Especially, I think, if they make an Animal Crossing game, you got it right there with that.
I don't think Animal Crossing is going to be a huge system seller.
I think so, though, with portable. I think a lot of people like Pocket Camp, and then you're adding in things that Pocket Camp just can't do on the phone that you could do on the 3DS or on the other system that it was on. I think it was Wii. And people really, really enjoy those games. So, and it's a casual game as well. So, if for some reason you don't have the Switch yet, I think it's a game they could package with it and get some people.
Yeah.
Plus, you got the Bayonettas coming and all that as well. So that's just from what we know. I don't know when Yoshi or Kirby are going to show up, but they'll appear at some point. Of course, they also, and not just Nintendo, but everybody else loves to talk about their sales. Sony had the most downloaded PSN game sales that they discussed. This one was kind of interesting this is a lot of the big casual gamers stuff. You would think that maybe with the downloaded games, you'd see some more, less of that, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But I think it does, what I gained from this is that people are really going a lot more digital now, because these are the games you would see people be buying in the stores a lot more.
Yeah.
The Call of Duties, Destinies, all those,
Generally, it's just easier. You don't have to worry about, you have to care about pre-patching or patching the game once you get it home. I mean, the knock is you can't sell it back to GameStop, which is something you do regularly and something I've done off and on too. But
right.
I mean, as long as you're a fan of the game, then most people won't sell their stuff back.
The only thing it saves you on is if it's on PS4, you don't have to install the entire thing if you get the disc.
Yeah.
Which, if you're one of those that...
Although some games don't have to install at all, which is nice.
Yeah, that is a positive. If you're not like me and I got a 2 terabyte drive, pretty quickly, that'll start running you.
When my friend got me Resident Evil 5 a month ago, and I put it in my PS4, and I was waiting for it to install, and it never did. I just hit start and it booted up. I was like, huh.
Oh, nice.
Way to go, Capcom.
Capcom doing something smart. But it's all the games you'd expect. Grand Theft Auto 5, Madden, NBA, Rocket League's on here. I think Horizon might have been the only big game that was, not just a casual person's game that's on here. Everything else is sort of those big games you'd expect. There's Vita, God of War, the God of War collection, the Jack and Daxter collection on Vita, Persona 4 Golden, still getting bought. One of the big reasons to own a Vita, really. Even All Stars Battle Royal.
Why?
So, I don't know, but people are wanting to get it. Job Simulator was the number 1 VR game. Not surprising.
There are people who really want another Battle Royale game, All Stars Battle Royale, and it's please don't.
I guess if they could find a way to make it better, maybe.
Make it fun.
Yeah, but it's it took the Smash formula, and it's just what are you doing here? This isn't that hard. I mean, Brawl Out that just came out not too long ago is kind of showing you how to do it right. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Amazon also has theirs. This one, of course, includes not just Sony stuff. So Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart above Zelda is kind of interesting. Horizon, Call of Duties on 2 different platforms, Splatoon 2, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, and Breath of the Wild on Wii U are the top 10. So, shows how much reach Zelda had this year. The Wii U version of the game is on here.
Where are all those hot Xbox One exclusive games, huh?
Oh, God. Yeah, other than Cuphead, I don't know that I would...
Where's Recore?
Is anybody caring about it? Where's Forza 7? Nobody... that's one of those niche games, I guess. People aren't buying that too much.
Recore is last year, or 2016, but
yeah.
Where's Crackdown 3? Oh wait, that's never coming out.
Oh God, if that even comes out in 2019, it'll be a surprise. Just from looking at the gaming product stuff, I don't think it's too surprising that all the PSN cards and all that is way up there. It's really easy to buy and is straight to you. The first game on there is Mario, and that's at 3. Mario Kart 8's at 6. Zelda's at 7. Then you have to go all the way down past Joy-Cons to Horizon Zero Dawn at 15, and then Splatoon 2 rounds it out at 20, and the Call of Duties as well. So that's interesting to me, all the stuff people buy.
Yeah.
With that there, the DualShock apparently was the highest selling accessory. So getting out of sales stuff finally, because that's seriously, I felt like every article I read this week was something about somebody's sales or something. The Uncharted Lost Legacy director leaving Naughty Dog. Interesting. He, worked on Uncharted 4, worked on Uncharted Lost Legacy, and he might be going to Crystal Dynamics to do the Avengers game.
No, man, go to EA, work on the Star Wars game. Worked out for Amy Hennig.
Yeah, I wonder if we will actually hear something about the Avengers game this year, because I feel like we know very little about it.
Showed off. I think they showed off that one teaser trailer, and that's been about it.
Yeah, just with Avengers coming out soon, you'd think.
The thing is they don't make movie games anymore, like big movie games. I mean, Spider-Man's kind of an offshoot. Right. It's not directly tied into MCU, but I assume that Avengers game certainly is going to tie into the MCU.
Yeah, just
I imagine it'll probably come out around Avengers Infinity War 2.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I would think that next year would be sort of the target of saying, okay, either we're going to come out before the movie or after the movie, or close to it, so that you can read the biggest benefits. But I don't think it'll be. I think we might see more of it in conjunction with the first Infinity War coming out not too long into this year. So that would make some sense.
So here's a question. If it is tied into the MCU stuff, do you think they get the actual actors to do their roles?
We don't even know if it's... Do we know if it's a live action and not animated, or...
I assume I assume it's going to be like live action or character action game or something.
Well, I mean, considering a lot of them just, unless they've already done voice work, considering a lot of them just ended their contractual obligations, I doubt it.
Yeah, but the difference between actually having to be on a film set for 3 months, acting and jumping around and doing shit, and then being in a VO booth for a week where you can wear whatever the hell you want.
I agree with you, but I think before, right, when they did some of the other games, that was part of them being contracted. They had to do that. So
yeah.
I wonder if, even though Chris Hemsworth's already on the record saying that he'd love to be Thor again, I don't know if all the other guys are, outside of Mark Ruffalo, who's kind of also really enjoyed his time, it seems like, if all the other folks are, that hyped about it. But like you said, it's not something that's so time consuming, so maybe they could.
I guess it'd just be nice, because most of the time when they get sound alike,
but also think about
bad.
how much you're paying these guys, though.
Yeah, but again, they're not on screen.
Yeah, but I mean, is this coming out of Disney's pocket, or is it coming out of Square Enix's pocket? And maybe Square Enix doesn't want to,
Yeah, they even want to pay for Life is Strange.
I mean, if that's going to be... Yeah, if they don't even want to pay for Life is Strange and those actors are considerably less expensive, I wonder.
It's weird. Here's a good example. They made a Captain America 1 game.
Right.
And everyone basically was in the movie... Well, from the movie was in the game, except for the guy who played Howard Stark.
Yeah, because at that point,
He wasn't. I don't think it was contractual. He wasn't part of like.
yeah,
They didn't tie him down. So
what Terrence Howard was in it too.
no,
Okay, yeah.
you're
See,
thinking
like
Iron.
at that
You're
point too,
thinking.
he was
You're thinking Iron
also.
Man.
Oh, Iron Man. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. I think at that point he wasn't really gonna be there too many times, so I don't think they
Yeah.
bother with it. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool, but man, I just can't see it. The money involved would have to be like Disney saying, okay, we're gonna give you them. We'll pay for them to put them in the game to make it great, but and they're not the only ones working on. Square Enix is not the only one, right? There's other Marvel, well, besides Spider-Man, Marvelous games that supposedly are being worked on by other studios. So, eh.
I haven't heard anything, but okay.
Well, I mean, it's like I think Disney made it a point, right, that they're going to try to do other studios with their
I,
games. So,
I mean, they said that, but like that was after they got out of games to begin with, so I wouldn't hold too much stock in that.
yeah, it just I don't know. I mean, are they getting the Spider-Man actor to do Spider-Man?
Well, I don't think that's head to MCU though. That's the thing. So no.
Yeah, I mean, they could also
I
just
mean,
get one of the cartoon
this
guys to
Avengers
do it too.
this Avengers thing might not be tied to it at all, but you have to imagine with the amount of like brand cachet that game has, or that name has, that they'll tie it in.
I mean, if
Spider-Man
they
can
tied in Marvel vs. Capcom,
that was bad.
you would think that something with the
that's
Avengers name.
that's tying it in the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean that one kind of just cut the legs off from them. I mean, what's cool now is if Disney's deal goes through, I mean they could just do whatever they want, right? Add all in those X-Men, and
Yeah, the next day it's like Capcom goes, we got Wolverine. Here you go.
yeah, we're updating this game like a year and a half or 2 years after the fact, but go ahead. At that point, they'll probably come out with some kind of like ultimate mega edition or whatever, and just hey, here's all the people you really wanted. Go
Yeah,
buy it again. Interesting that yeah, I mean it doesn't surprise me, I guess, but that Cory Barlog was very candid in saying that there's nothing tying Kratos to the Norse mythology where he's gonna be there for as long as he was in the Greek mythology. Kind of hinting that maybe not even for a next game they could immediately go to. Apparently, it was between Norse and Egyptian, so like they could go into Egyptian mythology or something else, and he doesn't just stay in something for 3 games or 6 games or whatever. I mean, I guess the point is that it's good that they noticed that the Greek stuff was getting old, but do you think
and
that's a
it
problem
only
if
took
they move around too quick?
it only took them 6 games to realize that.
Yes.
No, because it depends on how much Norse mythology this game has. Like if it goes through the major gods, like what else can they do? That's kind of the problem with the God of War games. It's like after the first like 2 games, it's like you're just kind of spinning your wheels. Like what gods haven't we done yet that no one even knows about, really?
Right.
Like I mean, there's obviously like Egyptian, African, uh, there's a bunch of, or like even like Chinese, Japanese. My personal favorite would be Judaism because I want to see Kratos with some peyos on his beard, hanging from his head.
Oh, could you imagine the
He'll have
people
like the
going
dra-
after that?
He'll have like the dreidel of like unlimited wrath or something,
Oh my god.
or just do the Christian mythology and that piss off like everyone in America.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want controversy, definitely do that. People will be with those pitchforks. I remember being at E3 and there was lines of people outside protesting Dante's Inferno.
That's a good use of their time.
So I was like, oh my god, just because this has religious iconography in here? Like, come on, people, it's a game. It's, whatever. At that point, I think there was also the controversy with God of War, and then GTA was still causing people some grief, so, whatever. But I could definitely see people getting pissed at that being in there. I'd like to see them explore the Norse mythology at least for another game, because I like that mythology. Like I enjoy the show, even though I'm kind of behind on it, but I enjoy the Vikings show on the History Channel.
I think 2 games should be kind of max for that type of idea. Like the problem with like Assassin's Creed ran into was they had like Assassin's Creed 2, which was great, and they had Brotherhood, which was better, but they had like Revelations afterward, which is like the most wheel spinning Assassin's Creed I've ever seen.
Right, it also depends, like you said, how many gods do you do in one game?
Yeah.
And do you have story that benefits and not just spin wheels? I think definitely a second game would work. When you get to a third game, you really have to have some interesting content there to be able to stretch it that far and then move it on again to whatever you're going to decide to do. But at least we know probably whenever they get done with Norse, they're going to go to Egyptian because that was their other big one they wanted to do. And maybe they'll tell a better story than Assassin's Creed.
A story would be an improvement.
There's some people that apparently really like the story in Assassin's Creed, so
They're idiots.
Yeah.
Like the nice thing about Assassin's Creed Origins, like the story, was kind of the wife, like that relationship. But it's so slapdash in that game that it's like just you can play the game for 20 hours and never see her.
Right.
Like she only comes in during like important story missions, so she's barely a character.
Well, that's kind of crappy.
She has her own missions. She has like I think like 5 or 6 missions by herself when you're playing as her. But that's not enough for me to make me care about her at all.
Right.
Like all she does in the game really is walk in, tell you that you killed the wrong people, have angry sex with you, and give you a new list of people to kill, and then like leaves again. And it's like, this is not a relationship. Like this is you're basically glorified. Like why not just have like a fucking exclamation point over your head?
Well, I mean, like what they're supposed to be married, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess if you've been married for a while, you don't really need to be with each other that much. So, I guess it makes sense. But I agree with you in that if you're trying to introduce a female companion character for him, she doesn't have to be there all the time, but probably more than she was in the game itself.
I mean, there are points where I forgot her name because she's barely in it. And the really funny part of like the story about that game is like the first 10 minutes after you escape like the opening like tomb or like little area, you come across like a friend of yours and he's like, "Oh, let's go back to our hometown." And then he disappears for 90% of that game or 80% of that game. And then like once the Romans are attacking, he gets killed. Like he gets like got out of his house and killed, and like your character is like, "Oh, I can't believe they killed him." And I was like, "Who was that?" Like I didn't know who that guy was.
Why would I care about that guy?
All I know is I got a cool flaming sword when he died, and that was cool to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm happy to get the sword. I don't really care about that guy.
If that's the case, I should have killed this guy 40 hours earlier. Would have helped me out.
Hey, I mean, like, could have really whooped some of the enemies in this game with that sword. Thanks. So Microsoft has once again added another nail. Or I already thought the nail was in the coffin for the Kinect, but apparently it needed one more thing: the USB adapter, so that you can use it on the Xbox One S and X. No longer in production. So you might want to, if you have an X or S and you really like the Kinect for some reason, you might want to really go get that now before they spike up the price. But I mean, apparently it's been sold out in stores for a little while. People have actually been trying to go get it, and I guess that's a good thing for them. But
Don't worry, Microsoft is going to release Kinect 3. That'll just be USB powered. Everything will be fine.
they already kind of changed it to where you can use headset microphone lets you do all the voice stuff, and you can use webcams with Xbox One anyway. So
Do you actually use that stuff?
no, I have not used the headset. I think once for
Like
Xbox One.
I have a PlayStation camera, like so I can, and it whenever I turn the system on, it like tries to find my face and kind of does half the time, but I just find it always annoying. Like I can just press a button and it's easier.
Yeah, I don't tend to use it because I'm not I'm not really big on I want people to see me what I'm doing. But
I always turn that stuff off anyway. Like it is the only time it's ever on is like when it tries to like locate me when I first turn my PS4 on.
I've played it when I had the Kinect originally. When I had the 360, when I wasn't playing like Dance Central or something, I did kind of like the whole. I could give it voice commands on Netflix or whatever, but I just never thought it was all that, great.
Yeah, it's not like the biggest selling point in the world.
No, it's not. I mean, it's a cool thing for what it can do, and obviously going off the Wii and whatever, and it was a nice kind of different thing from the Wii. But the first one, you need a way too big of a room for it to work. The second one, they tried to fix that, and for the most part, it worked.
But no one cared. No one made games for it.
Yeah, no one made games for it because they already saw it with the first one that nobody cares. So people were over it at that point. So.
Like you have to wonder, like why was that why did they make that such a huge initiative? Like who thought that was a good idea?
The people that thought that let's promote entertainment and all-in-one box.
Yeah.
Instead of games, that's what that was. Which was the dumbest thing. Like, at the end of the day, you can sit there and talk about all you want about these neat features, but gaming consoles are still gaming consoles, and the gamer is going to be what buys this more often than not, especially at the beginning when you don't know anything about it. And unless you have a gimmick like the Wii or the Switch, people are going to see it and go, okay, it's an Xbox One. Okay. Oh, cool, I can connect my cable box to this. Why would I use this?
Yeah.
Again, I thought like the Kinect brings in a lot of ease of use stuff. Because, especially with the Google Home and Alexa and all that stuff people have now, it was sort of ahead of its time if you think about it, but as a peripheral for playing games, people didn't get to take advantage of it enough.
So. This isn't fucking Minority Report. Like we.
Yeah, that too. That was a little weird. Like, it's recording you constantly. Like, oh, I don't know about that. You also that was sort of an interesting, just a thing from Microsoft, just because like when you showed it to me, I was like, I thought it was dead already. Now it's extra dead. I guess.
I'm sure like someone like PDP or someone also makes some like third party adapter, so it'll keep on trucking for the 8 people who still like to connect.
Speaking of peripherals, Mad Catz, which is basically like that's what they're known for. They filed bankruptcy 9 months ago, and they are back. And they're going to be at the CES in a couple of days. They're now located in Hong Kong, so I guess we want to go work there or something. But it's cool that they're back. I don't really buy third-party products, so.
Well, they're usually junky materials, or they don't last as long, or there's some incompatibility. The problem I think Madcast ran into was they really bet the farm on arcade sticks for PS4 and Xbox One. Just the market wasn't there.
Stuff as well.
Yeah, and the market just was not there.
Yeah, exactly. And then the way that they made the Rock Band kits, where especially for PS4, you have to have Bluetooth, and it's oh god, you just made this much more difficult than it should have been. And they were breaking a lot, and all that just did not help them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hopefully this time around it works for them more.
Well, I imagine it's just going to be, some investor money. And, I mean, the products were already made in Hong Kong, so they might as well, why not?
Yeah, might as well just go on location and save you more money that way. Paladins is getting a Battle Royale mode called, wow, they were just not original with this at all, Battlegrounds. I'm surprised that PUBG is not. Actually, I think PUBG learned from the first time. Don't talk about another game's Battle Royale mode.
just send the lawsuit quietly, and that is a blatant name ripoff. That's I don't like what Fortnite did, but I think it's very scummy of them. But they can, they're probably somewhat legally clear to do it. Them naming themselves naming the mode Battlegrounds. No, that causes obvious brand confusion in the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just pretty much the same thing. We're dropping 100 players into the map, and you're going to knock each other out, and okay.
To be fair, I don't know anyone who plays Paladins in the first place, though. So,
there's people that like it. Apparently, if they're adding modes to it, there's got to be enough people playing it. But it's just come on.
Yeah.
I mean, this game has been everywhere, and you're gonna make a mode called Battlegrounds. Just, you couldn't have a paladin sounding name to it or something else.
Yeah, wow. call it the Royal Court or something,
Yeah.
God. Or Knights of the Round or something.
Well, they get in trouble with that too.
That's at least not in the vernacular though.
At least it works more for their game, what they're calling their game, right? And the characters also look a lot like Overwatch as well, which that's another thing entirely. Platinum wants to make their own IP, finally. So,
I mean, they have before, Bayonetta's their own IP, or Wonderful 101.
Properties for other people.
Oh.
What they call Bayonetta. So they are saying that they've whittled it down to 2 different ideas. And that's kind of it, and that they're not going to be a total indie studio. They're going to be kind of in the middle. So that's good. I'm excited to see what comes out from them.
I mean, yeah, but we both know Platinum is really hit or miss. So if they're going to make their own games, good. I hope it's good Platinum and not bad Platinum.
Right. You're not wrong on that. I mean, Nier was a success.
Yeah, but Legend of Korra was not. Turtles was not. I mean, they have a kind of a long list of
Scalebound got canceled.
Yeah, misfires or just bad games.
One of my favorite games on the Wii was Mad World. So
remember Star Fox Zero?
I'll try to forget about that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, they're not. I mean, No More Heroes. They've been, hits on that as well, and that's coming back. Just hopefully, whichever thing that they decide to make, it's gonna be really platinum.
Yeah, but
And
no more heroes isn't them at all.
I thought they are involved in that, or what?
No,
Oh, is that
that's
another? That's Suda, right?
yeah,
Okay, never mind.
yeah, that's Grasshopper.
I get some of those confused sometimes. Either way, Platinum worked on something else this year that I can't place right this second. Or
Uh,
last year.
last year was Star Fox Zero, Star Fox Guard, and Turtles Mutants in Manhattan.
Or well, they worked on Near and then something else.
Nope, just Near.
Just Near? I swear that they were involved in. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, this is cool that they're making their own thing. I like that. You don't always settle as being that company that helps make games for someone else. So that's cool
Yeah,
on their end.
yeah, but there's more financial risk, like for them to, like if they make another Bayonetta type of game, good for them. If they make another Anarchy Reigns type of game, then I'm worried about them.
I mean, they do come out and say like we can't make a AAA game, not with
Yeah,
the money we have. We just don't have it. But
yeah.
yeah, it is. I mean, they're already working on several things. They're bringing Lost Order to Android and iOS for some reason. And Grand Blue Fantasy Project Relink for
The title
PS4.
just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, seriously, that quits Bayonetta 3. So whenever they want to announce whatever that is, that will be an exciting time for them, surely. And gaming and hazardous gaming both got put on the possibly going to wind up on the full list of compendium of diseases for the World Health Organization. This has led to a lot of backlash from people that work in that industry about how this hurts other more real issues that we have, and gaming should not be considered one of those. While others believe that gaming disorder and all that is an actual big problem.
See, I saw, when this news was a few weeks old, but I saw like a lot of snarky, like Facebook comments about this, like, oh, according to this, I have this disorder or something like that, and it's like, no, jackass, you don't. Like, this is for people who like don't go home and leave their kids to die of starvation when they're playing like World of Warcraft or something like that.
Right, or
Or
they go to one of those. It's not that big a deal here anymore, but in other countries, if you go to the internet shop and you're there all
internet
day,
cafe, that's what I was talking about, yeah. Or people who just play games like that's all they do, like nothing else. Like they don't go outside, like nothing else. Like
right. If you're
you're not,
going to work and you're having a normal life and you play games for like 5 hours, you don't got a problem.
yeah. If you play games for 19 hours, then it's a problem.
Right.
Like it's the same thing about like just like gambling or anything like that. Like just addictive.
I think it'd be more like gambling. When you start, like I've heard of places where they try to put gaming disorder people in there with people that have like drug addictions, and how far off that they can't communicate.
Yeah.
Because it's just totally two different sides of the spectrum. But yeah, it works with gambling.
I lost two friends to World of Warcraft, 14 years ago, essentially.
My brother went through that. He really had to, fix his life after that, and he's doing well for himself now. But
Yeah.
I lost a couple friends, childhood friends, due to that they just quit college and like I don't know if they're doing anything now, but until I moved away, they were doing nothing but being at home and just playing World of Warcraft. So uh, and people get into like Candy Crush now and more casual games, which are also sort of being used to relieve stress. In a different like people they're also using those games as a way to keep you from being addicted too. So it's
Yeah.
sort of a weird thing of like, hey, instead of smoking a cigarette, go play Candy Crush. Oh, but then you got addicted to Candy Crush. Oops.
Yeah.
Uh, you know.
Like I play games daily, and I'm sure you do too, but not at
Right.
the expense of like adult responsibilities, like you raising your daughter, or me, feeding my cat, or
Yeah. I mean, we also have the distinction of doing it for professional reasons as well, which makes it to where sometimes we play more than we probably should. But we're living life. It's not anything that's plus we watch other stuff and we're communicating with each other. We're not like shut off from the world and all that. So there are people that are like that though, and again, even though it's not something like the dude's not doing drugs or whatever, it's still a disorder.
yeah.
Um, but it's like a lot of things. It's something that I think people have to get used to understanding that it can be a disorder first.
Like
And
you're not spending your rent payment on buying Overwatch loot boxes or something. Like
yeah, let's hope you're not, but there might be people doing
no,
that.
yeah, I mean there are people
Yeah.
spending this beyond their means, like they're getting loans out to buy like blind boxes of shit and stupid crap like that, and it's like that's what this is for. Like it's the same people who take out a house loan to go gambling or something or to buy bitcoins. It's like yeah, I'm sure that's gonna last forever.
Yeah, guys, come on now. Let's be if it's fun. I almost wish we didn't have to hear about Bitcoin as much as we do, but that's another thing for another matter at this point. But yeah, so of course this is the time where some shows are getting renewals, and The Gifted is one of those. It's getting a season 2. Its finale is next week, or not next week, the week after next. Uh, I've been enjoying the show. I know you said you're not really watching it.
Well, I'm happy as long as Amy Acker gets like steady work.
Yeah, and I think several of the who play some of the characters in there do pretty well. It's just I think it does take some adjustment coming from the X-Men films and all that.
Like the thing for me is it looked like just I only watched the first episode. It just looked cheap to me. Like I know they obviously don't have the budget of like an X-Men film, but I mean like shows like The Flash or even Legion look better than The Gifted.
I think that's also because they've spent a lot of money on Gotham, so
Yeah, that's worked out well.
they've they've had to they got to make sure the Gifted proves itself in order for them to be able to spend the money on it. And plus, Disney is obviously the one going to be taking care of some of that too. So,
Yeah.
well, we'll see how that goes moving forward. Speaking of DC, as I mentioned Gotham earlier, they're getting a new boss that's going to be in charge of superhero films, any superhero film made by DC Films. Jeff Johns is still going to be kind of the collaborator to make sure that things are going well with the comics or any other kind of media that's going on with them. But he's worked with It and The Conjuring, which are two pretty good films. And why not? I don't know if this is going to be the tend to get them on track, but maybe it does.
Yeah. They also finally cast Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Go them. I don't know that I'm going to watch it, but why not?
I mean, I like Riverdale, so I'll give it a shot.
I need to watch Riverdale. I keep seeing all this love for it, and I don't get the CW, so I got to find
It's
another
on
way to watch
Netflix.
it. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check it out then.
I liked the first season. I think the second season, it'll be on Netflix like the week after it finishes.
Hey, that's fine. I can catch up on season 1 then.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows you'll want to catch up on, because you can watch all the old episodes right now, Animaniacs is coming back. Steven Spielberg's even coming back as executive producer as well in 2020. It's not coming back soon or anything. You can go watch all 99 episodes from the early 90s right now on Hulu if you have it. And part of this deal, they also got Tiny Toons, which I remember liking that show as well, and all the Pinky and the Brain stuff too. So.
They can skip Pinky Elmire in the Brain, though.
Yeah, that was...
They should just leave a big hole and say, if you want to watch this, go to a therapist.
Yeah, really. But I watched some of the episodes today. I remember how much I didn't get a lot of that stuff, as a kid, watching it at like 7 a.m., but going back and watching it now, it's like, wow, I think I laugh now more as an adult than I did as a kid.
Well, that's the thing is,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing as The Simpsons. Like, it was made for kids, ostensibly, but it was written by adults, and they had a lot of weird subversive stuff in those shows.
And some of the like total just jabs at like celebrities and stuff is great.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like, I guess it's nice, and I mean, I just hope they get. They should get all those voice actors back for sure.
Not that I think some of the Good Feathers ones, those are kind of easy to imitate. So I don't think they have to have the exact guys back. Like I think, like Pinky and the Brain for sure. And,
I mean, the people who are doing who did Animaniacs back in the day, like they're doing like live tours of like them going on shows. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
That's
And I don't think every not Tiny Toons. I don't think every Animaniacs kind of not skit, but like character. Well, like character work necessarily, but most of them did.
I think probably one of our favorites was like the good idea, bad idea with the mime.
Yeah.
Mime.
Or Susie Kaboom, the teenage daughter who went insane all the time.
Yeah, you got the
Katie Kaboom. That's it.
Mindy and the dog. They
Buttons.
kept chasing Buttons, and they kept chasing each other. Or he would have to like protect her from getting into danger, basically.
Yeah, it was like Baby's Day Out, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much should have called it that. That's what that part of the show was. Probably Pinky and the Brain certainly deserved its own thing. It was totally great in its own right. I just really forget how much I miss the anime, the Warner Brothers and Dot. Like they were just really funny. So I'm excited for it. I'm wondering if I should show the show to Anaya or not. But
I think it holds up pretty well.
Yeah, I think with all the different they look like a cross between a cat and a dog anyway. And then you got the pigeons and the dog and the girl I mentioned already. So she'll like it just from all the animals there. If she doesn't get the jokes, which she'll probably just be like, oh, they're so weird.
Yeah.
She tells me all the time anyway. God, you like weird stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe when you get older, you will understand. Speaking of weird, Bright, which seems to be hated by tons of critics, is getting a sequel because the people that actually watch Netflix seem to like it. So I think Max Landis has like some controversy that he's been involved in, if I'm
Yeah,
not
there have been
mistaken.
some sexual harassment claims against him, which are probably true because he seems like a creep.
Oh. Yeah,
Like
I
he's not.
saw that on Twitter. Like a lot of women were kind of like, "Man, I've been waiting a while to say something about Max Landis." So that doesn't seem to be going well for him. He's not involved, but Will Smith and Joel Edgerton are going to come back. That's good. I mean, I don't know how much more Will Smith's got going on, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like his star has kind of faded over the years, like in a unfortunate sense.
Yeah, I really liked him, or still like him. I mean, I really liked him in Pursuit of Happiness, and then I feel like after that, he kind of the star started going down.
Well, he tried. I think he really tried to like kind of push his kids as like his replacements, essentially. Like,
Hmm.
oh, my daughter can sing and dance, and my son can act, and it's like, no, neither one of them can do anything.
Don't get me started on the Karate Kid
That I mean
remake.
that I heard that was actually the better of his like the son's films, but I mean,
He was
still don't
decent in it. Yeah,
still don't really want to watch it.
it was okay enough of a remake of it. I mean,
Yeah, I remember After Earth.
oh God, I think everybody wants to forget that. Weren't they playing around with like they could make an After Earth 2?
Yeah,
Please no.
and I think he'll be good in like Aladdin, like depending on how they
Hmm.
like he has that like kind of jovial personality or like like persona essentially.
Yeah, he
So
basically did that for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so
yeah,
that's right in his wheelhouse there for that. Uh, I'm excited to hear him with the genie. I was just in large part, I feel like Disney's hit it with those live action films, so hopefully,
yeah, but to me they're just really I think they're just soulless just because it's like I mean they're based on the classic tales, but it is based on the animated films. It's like those are all still good, or at least most of them
yeah,
are. Like I could
exactly.
go watch them, come up with
At
something
least the
new.
Maleficent one was sort of a sequel to Sleeping
Well,
Beauty.
that was a like fairly decent new idea, but like uh, Beauty and the Beast, it's like I mean you could pretty much do like a shot for shot, watch them both at the same time, and it probably doesn't line up together fairly well.
Right, and that's one of their best animated ones, so that still holds up. It's if they found a different way to tell the story, or just I heard the Jungle Book one is really good too, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but look who's behind that, like Jon Favreau. Like he tends not to make bad films.
yeah, that's very true as well. Speaking of films, Cloverfield 3 has been delayed again. Uh, I watched. I really liked Cloverfield 1. I never watched the sequel. Uh, you know, it. I feel like we'll just kind of never get this movie. They keep delaying it constantly.
No, I think we'll get it, but it'll be a surprise that Cloverfield Lane was.
Yeah, well, you just drop and like, hey,
Or
here it is.
I mean, that film like it was Cloverfield Lane, wasn't it? That's what it was
Yeah,
called.
Cloverfield Lane. Yeah.
Like that was such a. It's so peripherally connected to that Cloverfield idea that I imagine that'll be the third one too. Like it's not going to be the us versus aliens movie that people want because
Right.
those don't do well in theaters. Like look at Independence Day 2.
God, that was just also bad.
I
I
liked
mean,
parts of it. I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but it was fun to see Brent Spiner being weird.
as long as it's not, if it's a good movie, then it would work. But it, you have to reach that point, and you're getting to the third one, and it's not like I heard really anybody talking about Cloverfield Lane. Honestly, I feel
Yeah.
like that just
No,
came and went.
no, it did pretty well.
Oh,
like
okay.
John Goodman got like a lot of good praise for it because it was kind of playing against his type.
Ah.
And John
Well,
Goodman's always awesome.
yes. Totally agree with you on that. That man does not make bad anything. So.
Except for Ralph. And Ralph was fine. The Flintstones, not so much.
Well, always got to have that bad one in your biography there.
Yeah.
Can't be all winners, but for the most part, John Goodman makes good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, Amazon actually picked up really good anime. They just had a terrible service to make you get to watch them. Anime Strike, which I never really understood this. Like, why are you going to make a streaming service within a streaming service? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You're already asking somebody to pay either $99 a year or $8 $8.50 if you get Prime separately.
I look at it as the same way that Hulu does Hulu, like basically Hulu Basic and then Hulu without commercials. It's like that should be part of the
I don't think it's the same thing though. Like they have the Hulu without or with commercials because at the end of the day, Disney and NBC and Fox want you to look at their ads. And then they gave you the option because people started saying, look, you're adding so many ads. It's taking away from my enjoyment of watching anything on Hulu. And so they said, okay, well, what if we charge them $5 more? And, people went for it.
Yeah.
I just think, like, you don't need Anime Strike because you can just put it in Amazon Prime and it's another thing to get people to get Amazon Prime. Or just the Prime Video thing by itself. Because I'm really interested in some of these anime. I don't know that I would get it for that, but they did make some of the best ones of last year. Princess Principal and Made in Abyss. And so,
all my hot favorites.
Yeah, sorry. It's kind of out of your thing there. But I'm glad they learned, and that's good for them. I don't know if they're going to keep going on after anime now that Anime Strike's not going on, but
I imagine if people watch it, they will. Like that's what they focus on, like the numbers, I guess. Like, yeah, you're right that paying $5 or $10 more on top of already another subscription, most people aren't going to go for it. But if it's included or baked in, sure.
It's just, I think Amazon's made it a point, right, that they're not going to go crazy going after stuff like Netflix is. So,
Amazon seems to be a tad more selective, like for good or for bad. But I don't see Amazon ever making a Bright movie.
No, I don't think they will. But Amazon's also trying to go after like European soccer and other sports too. So,
or like they essentially got Top Gear. So
yeah, and they got the deal with the NFL for the Thursday Night Football games this year. So they're doing it in other ways where they're spending that money. Whereas Netflix is just saying, okay, we're going to make a zillion shows, which I think some of that's to their detriment because then they're ruining the quality that comes with that Netflix original tag. But
it's also it's just overwhelming.
Oh god, yeah, I feel like every month it's like 5 or 6 Netflix originals show up, and I'm just like, who has the time to watch all this stuff?
Or stuff gets really diluted. I didn't even watch the last season of Orange Is the New Black because I just heard it's kind of terrible.
Oh really?
Because it's I want to say it's 10 episodes centered on 3 days. That's the whole that's bad.
Really stretching that series at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have to have it be? Oh well, they signed that 3-year deal or whatever, right?
Yeah, that show will be on for years if they can get to it.
Oh, it's not. I'm sure Genji Kohan would like to keep getting money from that as well.
I'm sure everyone who acts, I don't see most of those other people doing a ton of other good jobs or big jobs. So there you go.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, some have spun off from that show and like gotten popular, but most haven't, or like at least half of those people haven't.
Yeah, like I can't think of her name, but the one that does Donna from that '70s show will probably always get.
Laura Prepon.
Yeah, she will probably always get some kind of role, but and the main character,
Taylor Schilling.
yeah.
You know, do you know what she was in before? Like she was cast in like the show. One of the Atlas Shrugged movies. I think the first one.
Oh, really? Wow. That tells you a lot there.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes you just need your big break, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
That's what they got there. So.
A lot of women, well, a lot of actresses got kind of the big break in that show, which is good for them. But them kind of stretching those episodes out, like that season out, like was bad.
Yeah. It's like when you can obviously tell too is when it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm watching this because I like this show, but
I kind of found that. With it. I know you haven't watched it yet, but I felt that way about The Defenders.
Oh, I need to get around to watching that. Yeah.
Like that's another show that's supposed to take place all like within the span of like it seemed like 4 days, and it's like this feels very weird.
Like contrived things.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. Like all these things are not always hits, and they did say that they're going to start hitting that cancel button more often. Let's see if they actually do it. But I think as far as the games coming up, Super Meat Boy for the Switch, and I think that's kind of the only high-profile thing.
Well, that's about the only thing in general.
That's coming out. Everything's like the week after, when you start getting in a few things.
Yeah.
So it's slowly but surely coming around, becoming more of the regular scheduled thing for games again. But it's nice to have that little break like we talked about. And I guess until next week, everybody, check out, keep playing those games. I'm sure there's things in your backlog. There's still Sony has another week of sale going on. Xbox has a New Year's sale happening as well, and yeah, just catch up on that backlog of games from last year.
Yep.
All right, until next week. See you later.
Later.
Everybody.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.